Belief is the invisible force that turns ordinary people into unstoppable legends. It's the quiet voice inside that says, keep going, when the world says, quit. It's the difference between those who dream and those who achieve, because the moment you truly believe you can, your mind starts finding ways instead of excuses, your fear loses its control, your confidence begins to rise, and obstacles start looking like opportunities. Belief is what makes a beginner practice after failure. What makes an entrepreneur risk everything? What makes an athlete train before sunrise? Because when you believe deeply enough, you don't wait for permission, you don't need validation, you don't fear rejection, you move with certainty, you act with courage, and you create results that once felt impossible, because in the end, your life doesn't rise to your talent, it rises to the level of your belief. Belief is the foundation of every success story you have ever admired. It is the silent agreement you make with yourself that no matter how hard it gets, you will not stop. Because when you truly believe in your vision, you begin to see possibilities where others see problems, you start moving differently, speaking differently, thinking differently, and slowly the world begins to respond to that energy, because belief changes your posture, your tone, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. It gives you the strength to take the first step even when the entire staircase is hidden in darkness, and that single step becomes the beginning of everything you once thought was impossible, because belief turns doubt into determination and fear into fuel. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, they fail because they lack belief in their own potential, they question themselves at every stage, they hesitate before every opportunity, they shrink when challenges appear, but the ones who win are not always the smartest or the strongest. They are the ones who decide to trust themselves even when results are not visible yet, they act with conviction before proof arrives, they commit before certainty shows up, and that commitment builds momentum, because belief creates action and action creates confidence, and confidence builds results that strengthen belief even more, forming a powerful cycle that keeps pushing them forward. Belief is powerful because your mind listens to what you repeatedly tell it, and when you tell yourself that you are capable, strong, resilient, and worthy, your brain starts searching for evidence to support that story. You begin noticing opportunities instead of obstacles, lessons instead of losses, growth instead of failure, and slowly your internal dialogue reshapes your external reality, because your thoughts influence your emotions influence your behavior, and your behavior shapes your outcomes. So when belief becomes your default mindset, progress becomes your natural direction. Every great achievement started as an idea that seemed unrealistic to someone else, but the person who held that idea refused to let doubt define it. They protected their belief like a flame in the wind, shielding it from negativity, criticism, and fear, because they understood that belief must be guarded before it can be grown, and as they kept nurturing it with effort, discipline, and persistence, that small flame turned into a fire that could not be ignored, proving that belief is not about blind optimism, it is about disciplined faith backed by relentless action. When you believe in yourself, rejection does not destroy you, it redirects you, failure does not end you, it educates you, criticism does not break you, it refines you, because belief shifts your interpretation of events. You stop asking, why is this happening to me, and start asking, what is this teaching me? And that simple shift changes your emotional response, which changes your decisions, which changes your results, because belief transforms setbacks into stepping stones and challenges into chapters of growth. Belief also affects how others see you, because confidence is contagious. When you speak with conviction, people listen differently. When you act with certainty, people trust you more. When you carry yourself with belief, opportunities gravitate toward you, not because you are perfect but because you radiate clarity and direction. And in a world full of hesitation, the person who believes stands out, because clarity attracts collaboration, and confidence invites support, and suddenly doors begin to open that once felt permanently closed. There will be moments when your belief is tested, when results are slow, when progress feels invisible, when doubt whispers louder than hope, and in those moments your strength will not come from motivation, it will come from the decision to keep believing anyway, to trust the process even when the outcome is uncertain, to continue showing up even when applause is absent, because true belief is proven in silence, in discipline, in consistency, in the unseen hours where no one is watching but you keep working. Belief is not about ignoring reality, it is about choosing a powerful perspective within reality, it is about acknowledging difficulties without surrendering to them, it is about seeing limitations without being defined by them, because belief gives you the courage to confront truth while still pursuing growth. It helps you accept where you are without giving up on where you want to be, and that balance between acceptance and ambition creates unstoppable momentum. If you want to change your life, start by changing what you believe about yourself. Stop repeating stories of inadequacy, stop reinforcing labels that limit you, stop agreeing with every negative thought that enters your mind, instead begin affirming your strengths, recognizing your progress, celebrating small wins, and reminding yourself daily that you are capable of more than you have proven so far, because your belief system acts like a blueprint, and your life builds according to that design. At the end of the day, belief is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the force that pushes you to take risks, to learn new skills, to step outside comfort zones, to chase visions bigger than your fears, because when you believe deeply enough, excuses lose their power, procrastination loses its grip, and courage becomes your habit, and once belief becomes your habit, growth becomes your lifestyle, and success becomes a matter of time rather than possibility. Belief is the decision to trust your potential even when your current reality does not reflect it. It is choosing to see yourself not as you are today but as who you are becoming tomorrow, because growth always looks invisible before it looks impressive, and the people who rise are the ones who stay committed during the invisible phase. They water the seed before it breaks the soil, they train before the spotlight appears, they prepare before the opportunity knocks, because belief allows you to invest effort without immediate reward, knowing that consistency will eventually compound into success. When you strengthen your belief, you strengthen your resilience, because belief gives you emotional stability during chaos. It reminds you that temporary struggles do not define permanent outcomes. It keeps you grounded when plans fail and focused when distractions multiply, because instead of reacting with panic, you respond with patience. Instead of quitting under pressure, you adapt with purpose. And that calm persistence separates those who collapse under stress from those who grow stronger through it. Belief reshapes your identity, and identity shapes your actions, because when you start seeing yourself as disciplined, you begin acting disciplined. When you see yourself as confident, you begin speaking confidently. When you see yourself as capable, you begin attempting things that once intimidated you, and over time those small aligned actions build a new reality, because you do not rise to what you want occasionally, you rise to who you believe you are consistently. The world will often test your belief by showing you reasons to doubt, comparing your progress to others, highlighting your mistakes, magnifying your weaknesses, but belief teaches you to focus inward instead of outward, to measure growth against your past self rather than someone else's highlight reel, because comparison kills confidence while self-awareness builds it, and when you compete with your own limits instead of external noise, you unlock a deeper and more sustainable form of progress. Belief fuels discipline, because motivation fades but conviction remains, and when you believe deeply in your purpose, you do not rely on moods to determine your effort. You show up tired, you show up uninspired, you show up uncertain, but you show up anyway, because belief creates responsibility, and responsibility builds routine, and routine builds results that motivation alone could never sustain. Every breakthrough requires a moment where you decide to trust yourself beyond your comfort zone, to speak when you are afraid, to start when you feel unprepared, to continue when quitting seems easier, because belief is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite fear, and that courageous movement expands your limits, showing you that most boundaries were mental before they were physical. Belief also determines the size of your goals, because you will never aim higher than what you think you deserve, and if your belief is small, your ambitions will be small, but when you expand your belief about what is possible for you, your vision grows larger, your standards rise higher, and your actions become bolder, because belief removes invisible ceilings and replaces them with open skies of opportunity. In moments of solitude, when no one is encouraging you, when progress is slow and recognition is absent, belief becomes your internal coach, reminding you why you started, reminding you what you are capable of, reminding you that growth takes time, because the loudest support must come from within, and when you learn to generate your own encouragement, you become independent from external validation. Belief transforms mistakes into feedback instead of failure, because when you trust your ability to improve, errors become data, not definitions. You analyze them, adjust them, learn from them, and continue forward stronger, because belief removes the fear of looking imperfect, allowing you to take more action, and more action increases your chances of success, turning experience into wisdom and effort into mastery. At its core, belief is a daily choice, a quiet commitment you renew each morning when you decide to try again, to grow again, to risk again, because success is rarely about one grand moment, it is about consistent faith in yourself through ordinary days, and when you combine that steady belief with focused effort and patient persistence, you create a life that once existed only in imagination, proving that what you believe consistently, you eventually become. Belief is the quiet engine that runs beneath every bold decision you make. It is the internal agreement that says you are stronger than your excuses and greater than your fears, because before the world sees your success you must first see it within yourself, you must visualize it, feel it, and commit to it long before it becomes visible, and when that inner picture becomes clear enough, your actions begin aligning with it naturally, because the mind always works toward the strongest image it holds. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who break through is often one simple thought, the thought that says, I can figure this out, because belief does not mean you have all the answers, it means you trust your ability to find them, to learn new skills, to adapt when plans fail, to grow when challenges stretch you, and that trust removes the paralysis of overthinking, replacing it with movement and experimentation that leads to progress. Belief gives you endurance when results are delayed because real growth is rarely instant, it is built in slow, repetitive efforts that seem insignificant in the moment, but when you believe in the long-term vision, you respect the small daily tasks, you honor the routine, you commit to improvement even when it feels boring, because you understand that greatness is simply consistency powered by belief over time. Your belief system acts like a filter, determining what you notice and what you ignore, because if you believe opportunities are everywhere, you will spot them more often, but if you believe life is unfair and limited, you will only see barriers, and that filter shapes your decisions, which shape your direction, proving that belief does not just influence your mood, it influences your entire trajectory. Belief strengthens your voice because when you trust your value, you speak with clarity and purpose, you express ideas without shrinking, you set boundaries without guilt, you pursue ambitions without apology, and that confidence commands respect, not because you demand it, but because you embody certainty, and certainty inspires trust in those around you. In difficult seasons, belief becomes your anchor, keeping you steady when emotions fluctuate and circumstances feel unstable, because instead of reacting impulsively to every setback, you respond with perspective, reminding yourself that storms pass, lessons remain, and strength is built under pressure, and that steady mindset keeps you moving forward even when the path is unclear. Belief also influences the risks you are willing to take because without belief you choose safety over growth, comfort over expansion, predictability over possibility, but when you believe in your potential, you become willing to step into uncertainty, to try, to fail, to learn, to evolve, because you trust that even if the outcome is not perfect, the experience will make you stronger. When you surround yourself with people who reinforce your belief rather than weaken it, your growth accelerates, because belief is contagious in both directions, negativity can shrink your vision, but encouragement can expand it, and when you consistently hear reminders of your potential, you begin to internalize them, strengthening your self-image and raising your standards. Belief turns discipline into devotion because when you deeply connect to your purpose, your effort is no longer forced, it becomes intentional, you wake up with direction, you work with focus, you rest with satisfaction, knowing that each day is a step toward something meaningful, and that sense of meaning fuels persistence far more powerfully than temporary motivation ever could. Ultimately, belief is the story you choose to tell yourself about who you are and what is possible for your life, and when you choose a story of strength, growth, courage, and resilience, you begin living in alignment with that narrative, taking actions that confirm it, building habits that support it, and creating results that reflect it, because once you truly believe in your potential, the only thing left between you and success is time and consistent effort. Belief is the internal permission you give yourself to aim higher than your current circumstances, it is the courage to imagine a life beyond limitations and the commitment to pursue it step by step, because when you allow yourself to believe in something greater, your standards begin to rise, your tolerance for mediocrity begins to shrink, and your daily choices start reflecting a bigger vision, proving that belief quietly upgrades the quality of your entire life. The power of belief lies in its ability to transform pressure into purpose, because when challenges appear, those without belief see stress, but those with belief see opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared, and that shift in interpretation changes everything, turning obstacles into training grounds and setbacks into preparation for a larger breakthrough waiting ahead. Belief gives you emotional control in moments when doubt tries to take over, because instead of letting negative thoughts spiral into fear, you interrupt them with intention, reminding yourself of past victories, lessons learned, and strengths developed, and that self-awareness keeps you grounded, focused, and capable of making decisions from clarity rather than insecurity. When you truly believe in your mission, distractions lose their power over you because clarity creates discipline, and discipline protects progress. You stop chasing every new trend, every easy shortcut, every temporary comfort, and instead you commit deeply to what aligns with your long-term vision, knowing that focus fueled by belief produces extraordinary results. Belief strengthens your patience because you understand that meaningful achievements take time, effort, and repeated attempts, and instead of rushing the process, you respect it, trusting that every step, even the small and unseen ones, is building the foundation for something sustainable and impactful in the future. There will be voices that question your dreams, circumstances that test your confidence, and moments that shake your certainty, but belief acts as your shield, protecting your ambition from being crushed by external doubt, because when your conviction is strong enough, outside opinions lose the authority to define your direction. Belief encourages bold action because when you trust yourself, you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating momentum with imperfect ones. You take initiative, you make decisions, you learn through experience, and that proactive mindset separates dreamers from achievers, turning ideas into reality through consistent movement. The more you practice belief, the stronger it becomes because belief is like a muscle that grows through repetition. Every time you push through fear, every time you honor your commitments, every time you step outside your comfort zone, you reinforce the identity of someone capable, resilient, and determined to win. Belief helps you recover faster from disappointment, because instead of personalizing failure, you contextualize it, understanding that one mistake does not erase your potential, one rejection does not cancel your value, and one delay does not deny your destiny, and that perspective allows you to bounce back with renewed strength and clarity. In the end, belief is the spark that ignites transformation, the force that turns intention into action and effort into achievement, because when you genuinely believe in your capacity to grow, adapt, and succeed, you unlock a level of persistence and creativity that cannot be stopped, proving that the greatest power you will ever possess is the belief you hold about yourself.